welcome back to part 4 of building a Warmoth Jazzmaster. Okay, so today we're just going to do some basic things. So we're going to assemble the neck. I did a little bit of this on the previous video, but we'll be using a generic neck plate with a little inserter to kind of save the paint. So I've already checked the screw depth to make sure that they're fine. And I covered this in the previous video, but just in case you missed it, because of the carved away recess on the neck there, we have to make sure that we use the correct length on the neck screws. Otherwise we'll come through the fretboard, and we do not want that. So I don't know if you can see this, but we have the two different lengths of the screws. One's closest to the neck and closest to the body. Alrighty. So I'm sure there's different methods of doing this. I'm just going to lightly pop that in there, like so. That. And ensure that we have a really good connection. You can use some lock stud. What this does is it stops the vibration of the screws from rattling loose. So you pop this on here, a little bit on the thread, like so. A little bit goes a long way. What we want to do is line up where you would like the battery cover to sit. Take measurements of it, of course. So on this ESP version, if we route out a 6 centimeter by 3.8, we could get up to 3.9. I think 4 maybe a bit sloppy. So what we're going to do is put down blue tape. This will give us a area in which we can mark for our sizing, and it's also a great method to avoid the paint chipping. So as you drill and chisel away, you'll find the edges will want to come up on you. So let's have a look, see. So I want it to sit around about here, so that we have the edge of the cover. Not too close, not too far away. Now I believe if you choose this option with Warmoth, the battery goes up here, which is strange because in their earlier illustrations that they would show the battery cover would be down here if you had it routed. I would have loved to have done that, but the fact that they do it up here, I know you have to, basically if you ever run EMGs before, the wiring has to go from the jack up to the battery and then back again. So that's a lot of excess wire, unnecessary. I don't understand the method behind that decision. Okay, so now we have 6, which is brilliant. Just get a marker of some sort, some description. Just checking my measurements are correct. So I'm going to draw a line from there to there. I know this is basic stuff, but you know, if it's entertaining for somebody, use it as an ASMR video. I don't care what you do with it. So as you can see, it looks pretty crazy. I've drilled a whole bunch of holes here, just as basically a guideline to the depth. Now I'm going to get some chisels. Probably smaller ones than this, try and make sure that they're nice and sharp, and just carve away until my battery cavity fits in there. So wish me luck. I'm sure a lot of you are crying right now about me cutting into beautiful black Carina wood. Yeah, so where we're up to now is that I've chiseled out the cavity to a certain extent. We're nearly there, and I'm not a woodwork teacher at all, but just to remind everybody that you don't chisel with the blade facing down, because all that's going to do is chisel inwards. So you want to have it upside down, so when you chisel it breaks the wood upwards, and because we want to work from a small area and work our way out. So far we've got nearly the correct sizing. So when you come back again, or when I come back again, which will feel like a second to you, that'll be inside. We still have to drill a hole from there to there, and 2 little pilot holes for the screws. So I think it's going to be a clean look, and be back in a moment. So mission success. So what I've had to do is countersink a little bit with bigger screw size holes there, and we've got a hole that goes all the way through now to the battery. The plate now sits nice and sufficiently flush because of that countersinking that we did on the drill hole. So interesting design they've done there. Maybe it's to stop it moving around so much, but it's very hard when you're trying to do it amateur hour because of the fact that the pilot holes are so close to the side, so it kind of wants to keep slipping in. So I guess maybe you do that prior if I was to do this again. So I'm going to put all this together, wire through the EMG connections. I'm not sure if we really need to see that. We might do a small video on that too, but now I'm just going to clean up. Woo! So I got the Warmoth shirt that I got with the last guitar neck order. So what we're going to do now is put the decal on, the Warmoth decal. Sorry if it's not focusing properly. And we're also going to use a little bit of true oil to go over the top of the decal after we put that on. Not much, just like a little coat, just to help it stay in the area. Now, I've finished a few guitars actually in true oil now. Like most of you, if you get a bit obsessed with guitars and refinishing, you start searching forums, and you know, a lot of guys talk about Danish oil. Now you just want to make sure the surface is clean. I've already done that. Put it in the spot where you like it. It's a bit of a funny one. Where you're going to put it, because you don't want to cramp it up in here. So I like that. That looks cool. So that's where we're going to do that one. So that was easy enough. Maybe just give it a tiny little bit of a wipe over with absorbent paper, just to see how you like that. That looks pretty cool to me. So what I'm going to do now is get a little bit of true oil, just give it a little bit of a shake. Now be careful with what you do with the rags afterwards, because this is flammable. We don't want to have any accidents. So now I've used this before, so this is a common problem where it gets stuck to the lid. Oh, YouTube at its best. Look at this guy rocket. Whew. That's messy. Yep, doing it inside. What a legend. Yes, my partner might be away. So just a little bit goes a long way, and just start off thin strokes. Now this happens to also be a great way of sealing any like scrapes and stuff that you've had on guitar necks with a maple finish, or if you just got like a plain mahogany finish. I did an SG that I'll have to put a picture up of. It was a Tommy Hilfiger guitar, which was blue, and I'll put the picture up before and after in a second. And I just sanded it back. I used the sealer from these guys, and then some true oil over the top like I'm doing now. See, like a lot of people wouldn't wipe it as much as I just did then, but what I was trying to do was talk and do something at the same time, so I started doing that. And also I was just trying to get off any excess, because I really want just a tiny light coat of oil on that. And you can see, because this is baked maple, that there wasn't any finish on the neck whatsoever. So if you compare what that looks like to compare what that looks like, you can see there's no finish whatsoever on there. That looks really sexy actually. It's the darker brown. I think that's going to look fantastic. I feel like doing the whole neck now. No, stop it. Stop the temptation. Alright, so when I come back, I've already covered putting the tuners in on the previous videos. So with the magic of YouTube, just while we're waiting for that to dry, this installed the Floyd Rose. Well, part of it anyway. As you may or may not know from the previous video, I was installing a Floyd Rose
like the original style. Doesn't have the hex nuts, but this is like a reproduction that Floyd Rose has done of their classic design. Still licensed by Floyd Rose, of course. But since I'm doing a locking nut, I want fine tuners, and I'm going to put the D-tuner on there as well. So this is going to either be for another build or help fund something else. Is pop the Floyd on that we have purchased. So this is the one with the locking, and it should go something like that. Now that looks the business, doesn't it? That looks pretty mean. It's like a mean machine. So yeah, as a person said in one of my previous videos, another build that I did, white with black hardware, just looks amazing. Or amazeballs. I don't know if kids still say that. Now, also I'm going to install the No-Trem, and the No-Trem, how that works is I'm just going to put my hand on that, turn it over, and yes, at the moment I'm sticking with the standard block. I might put a brass one on there, might even do a titanium one, we'll see. Alright, so what happens here is this fellow, that part, the little claw, goes onto that area of the blocking nut, and then anyone familiar with doing a normal claw would know how fussy this next part is, where you have to put the two screws lined up. Warmoth have already pre-drilled these, so I don't have to go to anything crazy. Just get a Phillips head screwdriver and do them up. So you want to have the No-Trem little 3 of these knobs just loose for the time being until we get some tension going. They're fiddly little things, these No-Trems, to begin with, and no, I have no career in working on tiny little models. So we'll do this up. Could have done it up a little bit tighter first. Onto there. As you can see, the pole just slides into itself. This will become finer in a second. We've got the Diablo Tuning Halo Series springs that I found off the eBay store, and that fellow seems to be, or girl, I don't know, seems to be quite fast in their delivery, and it seems to be a very good product because this is about the 3rd time I've used the Diablo tuning springs. So they appear to be a good product. I'm not getting any kickbacks for any of this. This is costing me a lot of money. But if you want to shoot some money my way, I would say no. Okay, so that's basically the gist of it. We've got a bit of tightening up to do here yet, because that is no way going to be close enough. Now I'm looking at it. And as you can see, the further we go up, the more space I start getting with these things, and how they fit. There we go. So the idea is you've got 3 tension rings, and as they fit into place, you can lock it when you go to down tune, which is a bit overkill considering that I'm actually doing, you know, a D tuner as well, but overkill, hey, lots of fun, right? Now, the technique to move the Floyd in place is actually to attach the whammy bar, and if you're paranoid about damaging it at the same time, just get something like a little notepad, a couple of business cards, stick it under the bridge, and that it just gives you a platform to work on. That's not too crazy, because if you're anybody who's ever used a Floyd before, you know that's going to take a lot of fine tuning, and this is not even close, people. So I'm only doing this at the moment to get a position to where I can actually use it. And this won't be the first time I start mucking around with it. Alright, now that's in position, we've kind of got this sexy look going on of the Floyd Rose. I'm going to get my heights and everything ready. If you hadn't seen it before, I put in this battery box into the guitar, so that looks pretty nice. I have nicked the guitar at one stage already. Going for that relic look! No, what a pathetic thing that is. But anyway, let's not talk about that too much. Looking pretty good so far. So still waiting for that to dry up here. So we should come back soon with all that done. And what I'm going to do is also drill some part holes for the tree to sit on. Just put in the locking nut. Actually, I can do that pretty much whilst we're here. So locking nut, where is my Floyd Rose kit? There it is. So they give you some springs with Floyd Rose kit, some Allen keys. The studs I already had from Warmoth, so I didn't need to use those. So I'm not going to even have to open that kit. Oh, look at that. It's still in its actual box. Huh. So they don't even put it in a separate container, they just, looks like they just grab it off the shelf and pre-made locking nuts that they had prior. That's very funny. Okay, so it's definitely an R4, so that's brilliant. So this is going to be interesting because I haven't even looked yet to see if this is going to require shims. And if you're not sure what shims are, they go under the locking nut to give you extra height if the action requires so for where the bridge is going to be. So okay, so how this works is we have this beautiful R4 original Floyd Rose. Don't know if this part's made in Germany. Nope, it says made in Germany. We're good. It wasn't cheap, I'll tell you that. What's really killing us now is being an Aussie. Nearly everything's sold in American dollars. And if you're into like music gear, it's just the biggest bitch right now because you're going to be paying so much money for these parts. So I imagine there's a lot of Aussies that are just hanging on to their gear, just going, can't wait till that dollar comes back because I'm not selling off anything until it does. Okay, so we have an Allen key, which goes into these little holes in the back here. And like anything, never force it when it comes to this stuff. You want to be very gentle because cross-threading one of these, as I just said, the expense is not worth it. And yeah, I probably got goofy techniques doing this up. Sorry if you can't see that. So that is about as complex as it gets to setting one of these up. Why are you watching me drink coffee between these two takes? Because apparently every YouTuber has to have coffee whilst they're doing a gig review or a gear review. Okay, so for this bit we're having a bit of a look at what we've accomplished. So we've got the tree on there, that's the titanium Floyd Rose one. A little bit of an angle there, I kind of like it to stick out a little bit towards the low E, sorry, the high E. So the decal came out pretty good. As you can still see the sticker where it comes out. That's the nut there. Going down this beautiful thing. Looks weird when light hits it, it kind of looks green, but I assure you it's very brown. We've got the EMG 60 and 85, my strange combination. And then we've got the Floyd Rose, not fully installed yet. Let's flip it over. And we've got the Planet Waves all installed now with the little screws put in nicely. Looks pretty cool. And as you do that up, and then when you turn the string, it cuts the end of the string off, which is really nice. So this is kind of overkill, because we have a locking nut already. As you can see, that's how the R4 goes in. And then we come all the way down to a little custom plate, which has Betty there. My little Nick, damn you. And as I said, this hasn't been set up properly yet, but we're gonna get to that. There's lots of videos out there how to set up Floyd Roses, so I don't think I'm going to painfully put you through that. And then we have the the funny enough ESP thing. So it's looking pretty good. Besides doing a little bit of electronics, which I'll show you a short part after this, me doing that, it'll then be balancing the Floyd. So I hope you agree. That's a killer looking axe so far. The light looks a bit funny when it's hitting it, but yeah. The jack, which has the wire going into the volume pot. By the way, this is if you're doing a 1 volume EMG. So that goes technically out because it's output from your guitar out. But anywho, we're going to say it reverse here. So that's going in here. Then we go out of that volume into the bus. Right, so that goes up through here. Silly camera, why doesn't it focus? That's going out there as it says. If it was closer focus it would be fine. Then it's got neck, so that's going to the neck pickup. Then we've got bridge going to the bridge pickup. Then we have a hot wire going from the battery cavity into here, and each neck and bridge goes into the here for the hot. These don't matter where they are, that's fine. Then when we have the 3-way switch, we've got the ground, which is black. So that's going into here. And then we have a green, red and white. Now this is the same that's on the EMG instructions. Now if all this works, what will happen next is a good way of testing without, you know, closing all the cavities and trying it all out. You have these, you know, cool little Marshall pocket amplifiers. These things are fantastic. Crank it up till your volume's full, because it won't kill you if you've got the volume full on this stuff. Grab a metal object like a screwdriver or so forth. Turn your volume up. Tells us we've got that one, so I've got that down. And we have, you always get like a little bit of passive through, but you can tell that's definitely the neck only. And then we've got neck and bridge. So we have a successful wiring job. So I can now close the cavities and we're ready to rock and roll. So from here we're basically going to just be doing some refinements, putting on that detuner and strings.